As the Premier highlighted, effective immediately, exercise within family groups or people that you reside with is now permissible. That's immediately. As of midnight Saturday, we will be reverting to a series of restrictions which are very similar to the ones that were imposed at the beginning of this week. That is that premises will be restricted to a density of 1 person per 4 square metres, will be limited to 100 people on premises, hospitality premises, and table bookings will be still limited to 10 people. Funerals will have an allowance of 50 people, and weddings will return to an allowance of 150, but there will be no dancing or vertical consumption at weddings. Religious ceremonies will be restricted to 100 people. Private gatherings will be 50 people. Gatherings in private residences will be restricted to 10 people. And seated consumption is required across all venues that provide consumption of food and beverage on premises. Personal care providers, that's hairdressers, beauty therapists, will be required to wear masks, and still strongly encouraging patrons of those facilities to wear masks at the same time. Good news is that gymnasiums will be able to open at the same time as these restrictions coming into place on midnight Saturday. We're also encouraging people during the course of this extra work that we're doing to trace down all of the possible community transmission and contacts to wear face masks until we are confident that we have entirely dealt with this parafill cluster. The other news is that schools will be returning on Monday morning. So they are the restrictions that are coming into effect as of midnight Saturday. We are also aiming, on the basis that we are able to put a ring fence around this current level of activity, that we will revert to where we were on last Friday in terms of the level of restrictions that we had in our community on the 1st of December, at the same time that we are planning to relax borders for the Victorian South Australian border. That's the trajectory that we're hoping to achieve, but we'll provide further information, and obviously the websites will be updated as we move forward from this press conference. I can also say that in order to support SA Health with the contact tracing efforts around the Woodville pizza shop, we will be putting significant additional investigation resources in so that we can do this work as quickly as possible and tie that up prior to midnight Saturday so that we can move forward with the announcements that we've just made. Thank you.
What was the nature of this lie? And is it fair to say from the announcements today that had this wrong claim not been made, the state would not have gone into this pause?
Yes. The lie was the person claimed that they'd purchased a pizza from the pizza shop, where in fact they were working there and had been working there for several shifts. That clearly changes the circumstances, and had this person been truthful to the contact tracing teams, we would not have gone into a 6-day lockdown. The second consequence of that lie is this person has numerous associates, persons of interest, that we are now trying to identify and locate, that we would not have had to do so had they been truthful from the beginning. There's an absolute need for us to move quickly over the next 24 to 36 hours to identify and locate these people so that we know that we have eliminated the risk of this particular strain spreading any further in the community.
What kind of penalties will this person face?
The Emergency Management Act requires people to provide information on request. There is no penalty for failing to truthfully answer those questions.
So there's no fine, no penalty at all. This is just this person's done the wrong thing and they'll be let off.
There's simply no mechanism for us to actually take any further action.
Commissioner, how does this change, I suppose, the risk around this cluster? Is it now that you're not so concerned about pieces being delivered, or can you describe that for us?
I think it's best that Professor Spurrier describes that changing level of risk. But for us, it's the fact that we were operating on a premise that this person had simply gone to a pizza shop, very short exposure, and walked away with having contracted the virus. We now know that they are a very close contact of another person who is confirmed as having been positive with COVID. It's changed the dynamics substantially.
Commissioner, why would this person lie? And are they a man or a woman?
It's a male, and I can't go into the specific details of the reasons for their lying, but needless to say, the fact that we weren't provided accurate, truthful information has instigated a course of events that, based on the information we were provided, was the right course of action, and we're moving swiftly now to change that based on what we know
And
now.
just so we're really clear here, Commissioner, there is no way that this person can be arrested or charged for what they've done at this point in time.
That's my understanding at this time, and I'm sure you can appreciate that this is a quickly moving series of events. My team will be looking at whether there are any mechanisms whatsoever, but my initial advice is, whilst it's an obligation on people to provide information on request to an authorised officer under the Emergency Management Act, there is no penalty associated with telling lies.